we should watch this video. We're gonna like take a moment from the game and watch this video because I'm curious. So I found a video called "Why Are Black People So Good at Fighting Games?" and I'm just curious about to hear his take. I have my own theory. My own theory on why black folk are good at fighting games is generally because growing up, you didn't have, online co-op. You can only play against, your cousins, your friends, your siblings, things like that back in the day. So a lot of people, especially in black households, even for like myself, we grew up playing Mortal Kombat, Dragon Ball Z, Budokai, Tekken and Street Fighter, shit like that. So you're kind of just in the trenches playing it against the same people over and over again, and you don't want to be bad. Because if you're bad at fighting games in a black household, you have to hear that every single time. Like, you trash. And even because even like nowadays, we be in party chats doing fighting games and be some shit talking. It's like it's not like serious shit talking, but like it gets into your brain where you're just like, oh my god, I have to freaking get better at this game so this fucker can stop calling me trash. He beat me last time, I need to beat him. It's competitive. For black people, it's competitive. More so towards each other than it is about like anything else. Like if I go play Street Fighter Online right now and I lose, I don't care. If I play Street Fighter right now against my brother and he wins, I'm gonna be a little pissed off. I'm gonna be a little pissed off. Like, excuse me. This is Eptic Fire. I don't do a lot of recommendations when it comes to YouTube, but if you want to have like some good dialogue, I recommend this guy. He has like a lot of very, very good videos that are like very deep thought.
So before we jump into today's video, I want to let you know, if you can't tell from the thumbnail, it's about the video game Tekken. And
solid takes, very solid takes. I don't agree with everything that he says, but he has like a lot of good takes. He's educated.
Since Tekken 1, which
he has a PhD, he has a master's degree. He used to be a teacher. He used to be a counselor as well.
He's a very intelligent dude. The reality is, this is not a video game streaming channel. I don't even know how good this video is going to do, but it's all worth it because I get to tell you, those of you who are interested in this video, that if you're interested in watching me play Tekken along with some other videos,
I'll show his catalog at this video.
Another channel, FD Streams, that you can find in the link in the description for you to catch me streaming Tekken, hopefully playing with some of the biggest Tekken influencers on the platform and any other games I start doing. I don't know if I'll be doing it primarily here or on Twitch. I'll figure that out eventually. Either way, yeah, check that out, y'all. Now on to the video. So if you've been paying attention to the community notes on this particular channel, you've probably seen a lot of posts about the game Tekken 8 to be specific. And that's because
he makes like a lot of long videos, so you gotta be someone who's trying to like hear like a video essay essentially.
2, I'm good at the game, and 3, I'm black, and it just seems like a rule that if you're black,
now also his videos are usually pretty heavy on the political spectrum.
The reality is, if you pay attention to the fighting game scene in just about any series, Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat, Smash, etc., it's notable that in America, at least, black people are highly overrepresented at the top levels of competition for.
Which, by the way, to like coming off that, that's not the same in every other like video game genre. Like in FPS games, in a pro scene, you might see a black dude on the FPS pro scene here and there, like maybe one or two teams in the entirety of the entire like scope. Like it could be a worldwide pro league thing, and maybe 1 or 2 teams have a black dude on it. Like in Halo, freaking Native Gaming has freaking 2 on the team, and 1 is a coach. So it's like there's 3 black dudes with Native. That's unheard of. In Rainbow Six, Vertical plays for like SSG. And then freaking what's his name plays for like M80. It's like that's just the ones like I can think of. But like fighting games though, there are so many black dudes that are on a pro circuit for fighting games.
This has always been an interesting phenomenon to me because it's a given fact that fighting games are the most difficult genre of game to master and compete in. So there's games with really complex metas like StarCraft and League of Legends and stuff like that. And these games require intense concentration and decision making. And then there's games like Fortnite and Call of Duty, which depend on amazing reflexes and hand-eye coordination. And both of those gaming realms, along with most others, tend to be dominated by non-black competitors. But fighting games combine both of those skill sets. You have to have amazing reflexes and hand-eye coordination, as well as an understanding of profound levels of knowledge and strategy on the fly, mind you, in order to be at the highest level of competition. In a game like Tekken, where the last one ended with 54 playable characters, each with an average of 80 moves, so you're talking about an incredibly mentally taxing skill set that you have to own that seems to be greatly owned by African Americans. I'm pretty good good at Tekken. I'm currently a blue rank, although I am struggling to get beyond that
Oh
point.
no,
I'm probably
Twitch
in
just
the top
ran an ad.
25% of
Oh
people
no,
playing
so
this game globally, and I've been
delete it.
playing for nearly 30 years. But after a few hours of the type of focus and concentration needed to keep up with the best players, I personally am spent. My brain just turns to mush, and I get worthless because my nerves get bad. If you watch any of my Tekken streams now, you know what I'm talking about, and you can tell.
With the TD Cash
Actually,
credit
that's like,
card,
I know what it's like
easy
when
to
he's talking
change things up.
about playing for too long, your
Customize
brain
your
gets
cash
mush.
back.
To give like an idea what he's referring to, if it's like if you play a game a lot and you're doing good, like let's say you play 5 games of we just played FIFA. So let's use FIFA. Let's say you play 5 games of FIFA and you won all 5 of those games, and then game 6 you get smoked. It's like you've been trying so hard, your brain's been like so focused, so like where now your brain's just dying out. It's like I need air, so you just start playing bad, like playing Rainbow Six Siege. You're cooking, you're kicking that ass in Rainbow Six Siege. Then you have a bad game because it's like nothing. You feel like nothing you do is working. Nothing you feel like every decision you make is a bad decision because your brain just cooked. Your brain needs a break. That's just a general thing. Like if you're putting a lot of effort, a lot of energy into something, your brain is going to need a break. Yeah, even in real sports. Let's use baseball for example. If a batter goes into a slump, he's usually in a slump because he's exhausted. He's been playing every single day. He was doing good. Like now his brain is just exhausted. His body is drained, and he just needs a break. And if some teams they notice it too late when it comes to playing, need a break. That's what he's talking about. Though. He's basically talking about like you do something for too long, and you're putting like so much effort and focus into it, and your brain just gets exhausted. Your brain gets exhausted, but you keep playing. You start to make mistakes. You start to do bad. You know for a fact that you're good, and everyone who's looking at you knows that you're good. But once that brain just gets exhausted, once you get that brain fog and all that shit, you just can't string together anything.
I'm choking.
All that said, black folks, particularly black men, are often imagined as these great physical athletes. It's a stereotype that has been placed upon black men since slavery, and considering the reality of black athletes in American sports today, it's at least based in some tangible reality.
The players love him. Pete Carroll's a weird dude, but his players love him.
Black men in the FGC, as well as the handful of black women there as well. The best Tekken player in America, black, white, male, or female, is a sister named Cuddlecore, who along with guys like Shadow20Z, Lil Majin, the legendary Ryan Hart, and the recently unretired Speed Kicks, are all looking for top tier status in the country and around the world.
Take a look at that. Take a look at that. The best freaking pro player in Tekken is a black woman. Who would have thunk? I sure didn't know that. But the best Tekken player in the world is a black chick. Never would have guessed it. Never. Do you own one of those special fight game pads? None. I've never owned any special kind of like device for games that I play. Like I play Forza Horizon. Well, I play Forza Motorsports every single time it comes out. I play Midnight Club. I have never owned a steering wheel. I play fighting games like Mortal Kombat, Street Fighter, Dragon Ball Z, Naruto. Like I play fighting games, not Tekken. I played the demo for Tekken 7 with the new Tekken, but I haven't really played Tekken hard. Never used a fighting pad. The last time I ever used fighting pads is when I go to like an actual arcade like Dave and Buster's, or when I was a kid, Chuck E. Cheese. So, and honestly, those if you are someone who will be playing a racing game religiously, get a freaking steering wheel. You're someone who play fighting games religiously, get a freaking pad, because those pads and stuff, they make the games a lot more easier than these controllers. These controllers are shit. That's why people get like SCUF controllers for shooters, because SCUF controllers or modded controllers or elite controllers or pro controllers from your own PlayStation or Nintendo, they make the games better. They make the controls better for shooters. Whereas like pads and wheels make it better for racing games and fighting games, because these controllers are built. Think of like keyboards. They're built for multi-purpose usage, but they're not built for just one particular thing. So they're not good if you're just only using them for that one particular thing.
That's just in Tekken. The same is true for Street Fighter, along with pretty much any fighting game in the States. Considering how many of these top players are black men, this confounds a lot of stereotypes about the types of skills black people are able to develop. This is not a physical endeavor. You cannot blame genetics on this level of dominance. So what is it? So there are some elements to being good at fighting games that are innate, like just your ability to think creative, your ability to recognize patterns, and
do you have an idea of like how massive fighting games can be? I don't watch fighting game content at all. which is surprising because I play fighting games and also I'm a big MMA fan. I've taken MMA classes before, but I don't watch fighting game content. But I know who Sonic Fox is. The fact that I know who Sonic Fox is tells you like how good he is, and just like how how good people alike are.
Etc. But most of what goes to being good at fighting games,
Evo's probably like the best
game.
pro scene
like
in all of like
physical
esports.
Sports, I'd argue that the biggest factor.
Those people probably
in
like argue like
having that
Valorant or
effort
like
is culture
LCS
and
for League of
environment.
Legends.
And here's where
Like,
I have to present
I feel like
my
Evo's like
galaxy
always
brain
popping off.
theory on why the fighting game community in
Evo,
America
for those who
is
don't know, it's like all the fighting
disproportionately
games have
black.
that.
And to do that, I just have to tell my own story. I was the youngest of 3 to a single mother, which is not an unheard of story, of course. But one thing that set my mom apart from most single mothers was her education and career success despite having 3 kids. She made it to the top of her industry and had her PhD by the time I was finishing high school. So I never really had the classic struggle experience, at least on paper. Cause see, my mom was very much a classic black mom when it came to spending money and still moved through life as if she didn't have money. I never had designer shoes or clothes. We never had nice things in my house. My mother wasn't the type to buy anything.
Yeah, y'all right now, your boy grew up getting shoes and paying less. That's what my life was. When I was growing up, I did not have the expensive shit. We shared consoles. My brother, we shared a PS1. We shared a Sega Genesis. We shared a Nintendo 64. We like when it came to like stuff like game consoles, we shared it. I didn't have my own game console until the Xbox 360 came out. No, the Xbox original. She had me an Xbox original for her birthday. But yeah, no designer shoes, no designer anything. Just pay less and New Balance. Anything that fit.
Necessary, and this included video games. To get a new game or game system, I had to earn it from grades or wait until Christmas or my birthday. So if I made the honor roll all year round, I maybe could get 4 or 5 games a year. And I did not.
Right, 4 or 5 is a lot. I might get like 1 or 2.
I say all this to say that over my years of gaming, it was highly unlikely that I would actually be able to buy the newest games when they came out. So I believe that many black children, whether they had mothers with money or without, had to choose wisely on which games they would actually buy.
My PS2 that my brother shared, we shared a PS2, and it wasn't even ours, it was our aunt's PS2. Our aunt had a PS2. I think that her dad got her. But this aunt I'm referring to, we're damn. I think she's like 35, 36. We're in the same like age range when it comes to like. She's like an older sister, more so like an actual aunt. She wasn't playing video games anymore, so she let us have it. So we would use that to play Dragon Ball Z and Madden.
Growing up in the 80s and 90s. Another major factor was that, like a lot of black children, I also grew up in a very communal environment, meaning that I was connected to multiple families through aunts and cousins and grandparents all across the city. It was likely that I would see 5 or 6 of my cousins in some fashion every weekend until I went off to college. There were more than a few nights that looked like this at my house or my grandmother's house or my cousin's house. So I think like a lot of young black children who like video games, I ended up gravitating towards video games that were easy to play with large groups of children. If there's one game, one TV, but 6 little boys and girls, do you think I had
You gotta find a game that works for everybody.
I was playing Mario 3 or Final Fantasy? No, we had Mario.
Like I always say this, like I didn't get into RPGs until Mass Effect 1 came out. Because growing up, you didn't really play single player games. Like, yeah, I played Halo by myself, but like, that's different. I had a freaking Xbox original, so, and it was just mine. I didn't have to share with anybody. Like, before the Xbox original came out, every console that I had to share with my brothers and my siblings. And it's like, you played games that everybody can play. If you played on Nintendo, you play Smash Bros. And Mario Kart because everyone can play those. You play fighting games because everyone can get in there. And whoever lose, they got to pass the controller. That's how it worked. When it came to fighting games in the black household, winner keeps the controller, loser passes around. So you basically you're fighting until you lose. So that's kind of like how it worked.
Mario Kart, Tecmo Bowl, Street Fighter, and
so it was a Madden too.
I might rip Crash Bandicoot.
You need like 1v1 kind of game growing up. Loser passes the controller to the next person.
It had to be something that everybody could play. It was probably going to be something that was going to have short turnaround. Fighting games very much fit the description. And so then we have to think about the classic rule for this type of gaming environment. Winner stays on. As long as you're winning, you get to keep playing, especially in fighting games. So if I'm a young gamer playing Street Fighter or Mortal Kombat or Tekken, and I want to keep playing, and I want to have as many turns as possible and dominate my cousins, what do you think I did? I got good. I learned how to do a fireball. I learned how to recognize patterns. I learned combos. I bought strategy guides. I did what I could to remain
You try hard, FD. Yeah, try hard.
Ask anyone in my family, they'll tell you that when it came to fighting games, aside from my cousin,
isn't it
Damien,
weird, by the way?
Tizo, and
This is
Vice
a
and them,
little quick tangent. Isn't it weird that if someone wants to win in video games, they call them a tryhard? Like, how dare you want to succeed? You are a tryhard.
one time in Street Fighter 2, no, I have not forgot. RIP my cousin Damien. I was mostly unbeatable. Mind you, this same type of culture also permeates through arcades where everyone has access to it. But arcades also tended to be in urban centers in the 1970s and 80s and attracted a lot of black and brown youth. But when the arcades died in the 90s, well before online netcode could function to allow online play to really work, it was only people attached to local scenes who could truly play at the highest level. But for a lot of black kids, their local scene was their mother's basement. For white kids who are into gaming with greater economic options, the outcomes vary more. Instead of a kid knowing they will see their cousins every weekend, convincing them to buy Battle Arena Toshinden, instead they buy Tomb Raider because they're gonna be playing by themselves more. I don't know this for a fact. Again, this is just my theory based on my experience and what I've heard, but I'm positive that if you talk to a lot of these black pros in the fighting game community across all these games, they have stories relatively similar to mine. And this is true for how most skills develop at a cultural level. This same story can be applied to what's
I
happening.
think that's
in
probably
Japan.
like why I actually like didn't get heavy into fighting games as a teenager and as an adult. Like I said, after I got like the Xbox original, I stopped playing games with my brother, and I stopped playing against my cousin. Like like the family 1v1 stopped happening when I got my own console. So I shifted from playing fighting games to playing shooters and then RPGs, which is where we're at now. Be playing nothing but shooters and RPGs and sport games. So I feel like that's like, because he said like, you know, the people who are like the best fighting game players right now are people who had that kind of like, you know, that childhood. Whereas like for me, once I became like a teenager and I got my first Xbox for myself, I just stopped playing fighting games, at least in terms of like playing it a lot. Now when I play fighting games, it's like I might play 1 or 2 games in a fighting game once a month, if even that. Like, it's rare for me to play fighting game nowadays.
Or why black jockeys used to be the most dominant athletes in equestrian sports back in the 1900s, something I talk about in my football video. Cultural analysis almost always provides the best examples for these types of phenomena. Right now, the most dominant community in Tekken is from Pakistan. And this is a country where they didn't even have access to most of the resources that other Tekken communities had to build up their skills. But this actually made them more close-knit and more competitive because you had to do so much just to get access to the game. And for those who don't know the lore, in the last couple of years of Tekken 7, several Pakistani players came up to become the top players in the world, pretty much
4-time champion.
And this is also why I can't say that this cultural dominance for black people in America.
And here's the thing about that too, I know we're pausing a lot. It's way more impressive to be a champion in a game that's 1v1 versus being a champion in, you know, team games. It's not to like take away from people, but like a team game, the entire team is why you're going to win. You know, you can be shit during a series, but if the other 4 people are doing good, you being shit meant nothing. But in like a fighting game, it's a 1v1. There is no other people who you can rely on. It's just you and you alone who you can depend on. So it's way more impressive to be a multi-time champion in a 1v1 style game, in my opinion, than a team game.
Future, with online play being a huge part of the FGC resurgence and the emergence of global participants,
oh, look, it's
and
Evo.
huge attention for tournaments and large audience turnout, there's no telling what trends might emerge, especially as more money gets involved. So instead of labbing with a bunch of cousins, people are going to be able to go to Korea and Japan or Pakistan to level up their skills. So as the globe opens up to have more people competing to get good at these games, the cultural advantage that a lot of black folks have may not last much longer. But that is further into the future. We'll see what's happening with Street Fighter 7 or Tekken 9 or whatever as a new generation of players that have only played online begin to come of age, and people like me that have been playing since the 90s start to slow down because our nerves can't keep up with the modern game. God only knows. But at least for the current era, when you are looking at these fighting game tournaments and you see a bunch of black faces, I can't give you an exact reason why, but I think I have an idea. I still think it's surprising for people to understand that black people, black youth for now decades have been highly invested in gaming and video games and nerd culture in general. And one of the best pieces of content that I've seen about that was Foreign Man in the Foreign Lands video from a few months ago, talking about Black people's experiences in gaming, specifically their experiences with racism. If you watch me, you probably already know the homie Foreign Man in the Foreign Land, as well as other folks I rock with like Maggie Mae Fish, Ali Sunvia, T1J, and Lindsay Ellis. But what you may not know is that all of us are creators on Nebula, the independent streaming service that serves creators the way YouTube serves corporations. As much as I love YouTube, I gotta keep it real, it is a grind and a hamster wheel at the same time. There's so many things happening behind the scenes that you couldn't even imagine affect what you see as a viewer. Before I make a video, I have to think about whether or not this video will find the audience I needed to find. Do I want to use music or media to make it? Will I try not to curse in order to keep it from being demonetized? Will I talk about sex or say certain words that might get me in trouble? All this and more before clicking upload. And don't get me wrong, it's still a great thing to do professionally. Not taking that for granted. Candace Owens is right there. It's Candace Owens. But at my core, I am a creative, and I like making things not to optimize my income, but to express myself and share certain ideas. You may not know, but this is actually my side channel, and on my main channel, I talk about more complex and in-depth topics at a much bigger scale, whether it be the erasure of Black political history, the problems of the prison industrial complex, or an obscure rapper from the late 90s. These videos were all risks that were successful, but I never would have taken them if I didn't have Nebula behind me. Along with me, Nebula houses a bunch of other creators a lot like me talking about history, science, culture, and of course gaming and other nerdy interests, and it allows them to focus on the creative part and gives them a space to make stuff that can't exist on YouTube, including original content and higher production content that's on the way. It's the place to go if you like analytical and thoughtful content that isn't just background noise, although I have heard that I make for good background noise, but it's okay. I'll take the view. But for me, its biggest factor is having my back as a creator so I can take chances and focus on being creative as opposed to focus on just being lucrative. So please, if you can sign up for Nebula, use my promo code Signify BSides and get access to the best independent platform showcasing some of the best creators. And in doing that, you'll get 40% off or just $2.50 a month for your membership. Thank you so much, Nebula, for sponsoring me. I'm FD Signifier, and this has been Light Work.
My name is Spencer.
Press enter that video.
Artist,
Let's leave FD a like. We'll post the link. The Twitch chats you can
inspired by Chinese and Vietnamese
do all the necessary things.
My vision for it is
when it comes to like this. This is his backup channel, like as he was saying. It's not his main channel. His main like this backup channel, B-Sides, is where he does like his short form content. But his main channel, that's his gaming channel. His main channel is, you know, the deeper conversation stuff. But definitely like check out his original video and show him some love. You don't really need me to view or Andy freaking saying that someone has a freaking 175,000 freaking. I'm gonna find his primary channel. There we go. Right there. That's his primary channel. Yeah, like he's a big boy. You know, he up there. You don't need to promote him, but I want to show y'all like what kind of content he makes, like how to get rich off weak men. Spike Lee trying to warn us. Eminem and the white rapper problem. Swirl Economics. The Virgin Aaron talks about freaking, you know, anime is great and Aaron Yeager sucks. You know, how to become a video essayist. The police won't save us. The reason running backs aren't getting paid. You know, the face of Black conservatism. So basically like a lot of deep thought kind of conversations and stuff like that. Yeah, so he is primarily a leftist. So if anyone who sees a VOD or is lurking, you know, his views are more along the lines of the left. So if you're someone who's more along the lines of the right, you won't like the guy. I just say that because I notice people out there who, like, not necessarily you telling me, but I notice people who watch the VODs who might hate political content. Though I'm coming from a science background, and in science we have the saying, like Dr. Umar, he's way better than Umar. Umar is very controversial. FD's not very controversial. Umar also has like a lot of wild takes where it's just like, all right, this guy's fucking stretching it. And also